Hey, how's it going guys? Reed here and welcome to ReadReborn. Hope you guys are having a brilliant day. In today's video, obviously making another patch 3.3 video since I'm back from holiday, and in this video it's a dungeon guide looking at the second newest dungeon in patch 3.3, Sohr Khai. As always, in this video I'm going to be doing a guide on the boss fights. So after killing a couple of sets of mobs, you're going to arrive at the first boss room and face Chieftain Moglin. So after a short while, 3 Moogles are going to spawn. They don't really do too much, just a little bit of extra damage, but as you can see, Captain Mogson is tethered to Moglin and that makes him invulnerable, so before you start damaging Moglin again, just make sure you've taken him out. The next thing to look out for is basically the main mechanic of the fight, and that is Pom Praise. As you can see, there's a small AoE around each Moogle and you basically just have to hit the Moogles out just so they're not in the circles when the cast goes off. So shortly after that, Moglin is going to spawn 4 Moogles this time, basically the exact same, just take him out as quick as possible. Depending on how fast your DPS is, you might see an AoE, but if you take him out in time then you do not have to worry. And same again, once they're all dead, you're going to see those same purple AoEs beneath the dead Moogles, and the exact same again. Just hit the Moogles out of the purple circles and you'll be fine, but as you can see it could get a little crowded as there is quite a lot in the area. So a final 2 things to look out for. The first one is Demonical Mog Cane, and this just puts a cane above one of the dead Moogles and it does like a cross AoE, so if you see that, be sure to move out of the way. And finally Pom Holy, which is just like a party wide move which deals around 5,000 damage, so healers just need to be aware of that. But apart from all of these moves, just keep burning him down, and once you have, you can continue with the dungeon. So after taking out some more mobs, you're going to arrive at the second boss room and face Cauterize. So first thing to mention in this fight is that the wall is your friend. You do not want it to get destroyed, so a first move that Cauterize does is Quasar, and basically this aims it towards one player, and as you can see it does it in a straight line and it destroyed part of the wall. So in the perfect situation, the tank should be right at the top of the room and everyone else directly behind, so this can only go straight or backwards. So a short while into the fight, the boss is going to jump up into the air and then you're going to see one of the markers at either end of the arena sort of telling you the opposite direction to go. So head over to the opposite direction to take like minimal damage from touchdown. Now the next thing you're going to see is a badass looking straight line AoE called Gallop, which takes up the whole area. Now you would think that standing in the water would be the way to do it, as that is out of the way of the AoE, but if you stand in that watery AoE, basically gives you a very big electrocution debuff and you're probably going to die from it, so don't stand in there. The best place to stand is literally just hugging the wall. If you've got a wall to your side you can only get knocked backwards, but if you've got sort of open space to your side you're going to be knocked sideways rather than backwards. So throughout this fight, random players will be targeted by a purple marker, and shortly after like an electric cloud is going to be dropped on their head. This does like a really big sort of AoE explosion, and so preferably you want to place this right at the side of the arena and also in an area where the wall isn't broken, because as you can see the explosion just took away a piece of wall, making it even harder to sort of deal with the mechanic where the boss jumps in the air. That is all you have to deal with in this second boss fight. Just make sure you keep the quasars straight, because otherwise it just makes the rest of the fight really difficult. As you can see, we just about managed to kill the boss even though we had no walls. So after taking out a final few sets of mobs, you're going to reach the final boss room and be facing Hraesvelgr. So a first move to look out for is Holy Breath. This randomly gets put on players throughout this fight and it's just sort of like a constantly pulsing, exploding beam sort of thing. So you're going to have to react fast and try and get out of the way to stop taking any damage from that. Next up, throughout this fight, Hraesvelgr will jump up into the air and start casting Cauterize, which is basically a huge straight line AoE across some of the platforms, and once that's carried out, those platforms are destroyed, so you sort of have to deal with the remaining platforms you have left. So next up we have a move called Diamond Storm. This is like a party wide move that does around 4k damage to every player, and it also brings in these sort of ice stones that just sort of float around, and if you get hit by any of those you get inflicted with heavy, and it deals a little bit of damage, just making it harder to maneuver across the platforms when you need to. So a penultimate thing to mention is these little ads called Holy Sprites. They just sort of float around, they don't attack you unless you attack them, and they cast a little move called Banish which does a really small bit of damage, but the main reason they're there is so you can charge up your limit break bar really quickly. If you kill 3 or 4 of those in one go, that will probably put you up a whole bar, which is really good, so I definitely recommend taking those out. And the final thing to look out for is when Hraesvelgr says this, it's like a little prompt basically saying that some magic is inbound, and as you can see at the far end of the screen we've got like a spirit dragon sort of coming through the area. I would definitely recommend getting out of the way of this, because as you can see, as it gets closer to us it starts dealing constant, like almost every second, every half second, like 2000 damage, so if you see that coming towards you, I'd definitely move out of the way. And anyway guys, that is basically it. Just keep on dealing with those mechanics and burning Hraesvelgr down, and then you would have defeated the boss and completed Sohr Khai. That will allow you to continue with the 3.3 story, and yeah, that is my guide over. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you did, please feel free to leave a like, comment, share and subscribe to the channel, because that is always awesome and it always helps out. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this guide, and I'm sure I will see you again really soon.